Well, good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, not Wednesday. I was just having one of those days yesterday. I was feeling kind of like yuck. So I had to chill, just take a break. I just couldn't do it yesterday. I didn't crochet much at all. I didn't film. I didn't edit. I did nothing. But we all need those kind of days every now and then. So my week started off kind of interesting. Sunday, after my video went up, John came back from his camping trip with the twins, and it was probably about 8 o'clock at night-ish, and we're sitting out on the porch talking, and I was just reading comments and getting ready to reply to comments, and all of a sudden this bolt of lightning came down and the thunder crashed and the transformer exploded. Scared the crap out of me. I almost dropped my phone, and yeah, we went without power for a few hours, so that was interesting. So the crochet project I was working on at that time was definitely put on hold. Scared the bejeebies out of me. Anyhow, I made a few things. I even busted out a bunch of free patterns and was working on those. I did quite a few smalls because my keychain assortment was getting very low, and I needed some. So I worked on keychains, and I got the new, just a few colors, the new Parfait Plush, and I will tell you, it is very much like Sweet Snuggles Light. Your item will come out a nice size. I did two things using some of the colors that I got. I mainly wanted the black and white because I wanted to be able to do the Night Fury and the Light Fury. And I haven't sold a Light Fury yet, but the Night Furies do well. You know, toothless. Well, I'll explain it when we get to those plushies. So I started off my week with one of my top 4 sellers at market, and that would be Nibbles. He is, of course, you guys know, this is my own pattern. I used frosting. Oh, he's got some blue fluff on his nose. He's been blue nosing. I used burlap frosting for his fur color. Denim in chenille brights for the overalls, and caramel for the cookie, and then some chocolate parfait chunky to make the chocolate chips. He's like just so cute, and he sells really well. So this will give me 2 for tomorrow's market. I have a hot pink, one in hot pink overalls. I wanted to do more, but you know, I think I'm starting to feel a little burnout. So I have to keep changing up to keep me interested. So I have to keep changing. Sitting there doing too many of the same thing just isn't in the cards right now. But before September 5th, I definitely need to have more of these made. So, I don't know. I'm just starting to feel it. Even though I had the extra time off with no market because of we got the rain out, I'm just starting to feel it. But we all go through it. So, one Nibbles the Cookie Mouse by Knotting Hook Crochet. Great pattern, you guys. Love this guy. So we did one Cookie Mouse. And then we were talking about those jumping spiders last week, and I made 10 of them. And I was saying how John wants to hang them from the canopy to put them on display. So I started thinking, if I do that, then there won't be a whole lot on the table for them to pick through. And I don't want to, yes, I want to sell the ones that are hanging, but I don't want to have to be constantly just taking those off display and then rigging another one to hang up. And, I'm being lazy. So I decided to make a few more of the jumping spiders. And each one of these are different than the other ones that were made. So I used some tie-dye, chenille brights tie-dye, and regular chenille brights. So I did them a few of them two-toned like this. And I did one in black and orange. And again, I'm still using up that little piece of the antique white for the fangs. I'm almost through it. So we got this one. And then, I don't know, I was feeling a little kind of like Beetlejuice. So, black and white. I'm not so sure about this one. And I gave him this little green spot on the top of its head to, represent the hair. But yeah, so just a little kind of Beetlejuice-ish color type of thing. I'm trying to block the sun from the window. I did buy some curtains, but I have to get a curtain rod for that window. So we have 5 spiders. And this pattern is by, my paper's laying where I can't see it. Okay, prop it up right there. It is by, handmade by Nickel. And these are very quick. I'm not a spider fan, but when they come out this pretty and colorful and bright, it's a little easier to make them. And I did not bring my can to show you size comparison. So I will be right back. So I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. But here is Cookie Mouse compared to a Diet Coke can. And the spiders. They are all pretty much the same size. Let me hold that a little better. So this would give me a total of 15 spiders. That's a lot of spiders. Ugh. Probably not as many that's in my house, but 15 spiders. Enough to do the display hanging and still have some down where they can pick through them. And I hope they sell. I mean, if nothing else, they were fun to make. But I hope they sell. So the next thing that we did, oh gosh, a couple months ago, I bought a Teresa's crochet shop pattern. She was running a sale, and I actually bought a few of her patterns. When I bought the sharks, I bought the pterodactyl, and I just hadn't done it. And I just kept putting it off, and then I was like, you know what? It isn't going to get made unless you open up that pattern and you just make it. So we did the pterodactyl. Now, in usual Teresa Crochet Shop fashion, there is sewing. You sew the head to the body, you sew the arms and the legs to the body, you sew the tail to the body. The wings, believe it or not, are done with a surface crochet. Now this is one that I used the new Parfait Plush, and it came out a lot bigger than I expected. Now this was a pleasure to work with. It crocheted nicely. Yes, it did some shedding, but nowhere near as bad as Sweet Snuggles Light or the Home Slim. And sewing is the same as trying to sew with any other chenille yarn. It sucks. You get to a certain point and then the string just starts to fall apart and you just can't do it anymore. So usually when I run into things like that with any of the like Parfait Chunky style chenille yarn, if it's a small part, like this little tail is small, your yarn's gonna last. That I'll leave a long enough tail to do it with the yarn that the part is made with. When it's something bigger that has to be sewn on and you want it sewn on firmly, then I break out the like cotton thread style yarn or some acrylic yarn if I can match the color, and sew with that. Save myself the stress. But I mean, it's kind of cute. It's different, that is for sure. But I figured since I just made some dinosaurs, it's the perfect time to do the pterodactyl to go along with the dinosaurs. So we'll see what happens, but it is definitely a good size. And here it is with the Coke can. Get it in screen. So we shall see what happens. I mean, it's definitely, now she says to use purple. I didn't have purple. I had light blue and a dark blue. So whatever. I have a blue pterodactyl. All right, so then I started on my keychains. But I'm going to show you my one last big item first before I show you the keychains. Because, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily go in any particular order that I show you these things. I usually like to do them in the order that I make them, but we're not going to do that. It is what it is. No particular order. So my last big item, and you guys would be so proud of me. When I had to go and pick up these glasses and get some polyfill, I bought myself some glitter, regular, normal glitter, not the super fine glitter that came with my resin kit, just regular old glitter. And again, I needed green eyes to be able to make a Night Fury. And I wanted to make Snuggle Beans Crochet's baby Night Fury. It's mostly no-sew. And I started this one Tuesday night. And I was finishing it up yesterday morning. I just had some sewing to do. For the most part, something fell. I don't know what it was. For the most part, I had it done. And then I had the sewing. So I made my own eyes. And I think they turned out pretty darn good. So when I went to make these, I did a 35mm pair and a 30mm pair. Because I didn't know what size I was going to need for this, because I was using the new Parfait Plush. And he turns out really good in the Parfait Plush. So, size comparison, his tail. So he turns out a good size. Now this one, there are a lot of parts, but as far as sewing goes, you sew the wings onto the back, you sew the head to the body, and you have to sew the tail fins to the tail. Sun went behind a cloud. There we go. The tail fins to the tail. So it's, pretty much minimal sewing, but still. Now this, look at those eyes. Looks pretty good, I think. Aren't you proud of me? This I used the Parfait Plush, and if this part of the tail was not red, I would not have had enough out of one skein to make this, which really surprised me because when I do this out of Parfait Chunky, one is more than enough. I have leftover. Not a lot, but I have leftover. So this Parfait Plush, it's supposed to be 174 yards. I started questioning whether or not I really got 174 yards on my skein. And don't we always do that? But I only had this much left. This would not have made that last tail fin. It's maybe a yard, maybe a little more, but that was it. That was all that was left out of that entire skein. Now I know I used a bigger hook, so it might, the stitches are going to be a little bigger, so it might take a little bit more yarn, but I wouldn't have thought like 40 yards more plus. But it turned out a great size. I like this guy. So this is definitely another fabulous pattern by Snugglebeans Crochet, Miss Shannon. And the black was so sweet, Snuggles. The shedding was much worse on the black than the blue. Maybe because it was a dark color, I just noticed it more. But it was definitely worse. But he's just cute. And I really like his size. I just feel like for the work that goes into it, you need to not use Parfait Chunky on this pattern. That way you can get your price out of it. Now, of course, I didn't have a bright red. All I had was the ruby red, but it still looks good. And that was my toothless. Ugh, I'm dropping price stick tags on the floor. That is what is falling. I'm going to have a mess to clean up. A mess on top of my mess. So I did those. And that's the new Parfait Plush. It feels nice. With the blue, it was minimal shedding. With the black, it was a lot more. I kind of felt like maybe there wasn't 174 yards, but I don't know. I have not done that pattern out of the thicker yarn before. I've only done it out of the Parfait Chunky, but I know I had leftovers from it. So that one I'll have to work with it a little bit more to know if it's something I would stick with, or when they got more colors available, if it would be something I would use to replace Parfait Chunky. But there are certain things that Parfait Chunky, you need it for. For example, keychains and car swings, I like using the Parfait Chunky out of those because it comes out a more reasonable size, I think. So let's just go right into keychains. I was getting very low on my selection, but I added a couple of new ones. So I started off with hearts. This one is the Parfait Chunky in the bloom or blossom, I forget what they call that. Did one that is a watermelon heart, strawberry heart, and a dragon fruit heart. So I did 4 hearts, and this is a free pattern off of Instagram, and it is by Plushy Co Patterns. So for these I'm pretty sure I sold out of hearts at the last market, or it might have even been the market before. No, couldn't have been the market before. That one was such a dud. Okay, so the next one that I moved on to were ice cream cones. And I decided to change up my attachment and put these on it because I was being lazy. These didn't require sewing. So we have the 2 flavors, and I'm using my scrap yarns on for the little small balls that I have. And I think this might be Sweet Snuggles because that came out so much bigger than the other one. But the color is like almost identical. So the 2 ice cream cones, the pattern is free off of Instagram, and it is by Mel's Crocheted Creations. So we have that. Now, when it comes to the Instagram free pattern links, I'm just going to link the designer because for some reason, if you link directly to the pattern itself, it tends to not work for very long. So I will link just to the designer. And you just go to their page, and usually most of them, if they are well versed with Instagram, you'll see little circles at the top, and it'll say free patterns. If not, you just scroll through their posts, and you'll see the free patterns. So then I moved on to some of the squid. Did these 2 colors here, this one I'm pretty sure is Haze by Parfait Chunky. But this one I think is what do they call it? Squishy? The one from Hirschner's that I had a subscriber sent me a few skeins to try, but I think that's what this is. Crochets nicely, not great for sewing, but none of the chenille is. But it does, it feels like it has more meat on its bones than the Parfait Chunky has been lately. So we have 2 squids. And then another one, it's not, the squids are by Plushy Co Patterns. So the hearts and the squids are Plushy Co, which is very generous that they do that with the free patterns. This next one wasn't meant for a keychain, but they are the perfect size for a keychain. And it's these little mushy boys, and they sell well. I mean, I don't put a big high price on them. They don't take long to make. These are made with Parfait Chunky, even though when I sit there and I feel this red, it has more of a chenille brights feel to it. They're so inconsistent with their stuff anymore. But 2 mushy boys, and the mushy boys are by Knittery. Did you guys want to see these next to the Coke can? I can do that. Mushy boy. This one is the bigger of the 2 ice cream cones. The smaller ice cream cone. The squids. And the hearts. So, all right, where am I? Oh, and then I did 1 Possum keychain. I would have done more than 1, but now I'm getting into where I started to not feel very well. So I stopped at 1 because this one is you know, more color changes. It's a little bit more complicated to do, but they are really stinking cute. And they're just the right size for a keychain or a bag charm. Well, it's kind of big for a keychain, but for a bag charm, I mean, turn them like this. Actually, I think this one turned out a little bigger. I did yarn under. Could have been that the Parfait Chunky was just a little bit thicker, like this, the gray, the seal, I believe that one is called. Could have been an older skein that actually had some meat on its bones. But I only got one possum made. Then I switched to some new ones. These, I like one way more than the other. And I want to make more than one than I do the other. So this one is by Cuteville Toys, and it's a free pattern. I don't remember if she built it as a keychain or not, or a bag charm, but I added the keychain to it. It might be, I don't really remember. But you got Spongebob. So I made 2 of them. Now, the only thing that I will say about this pattern, when it tells you to put the eyes in, don't do it. Wait till you get a couple more rounds, because the minute you put the eyes in, you are not going to be able to crochet through the stitch. You need to go up a round or 2 to do it. But these are like, I can't stand SpongeBob. I hate that cartoon. But these are really cute. For a little keychain or bag charm, I think it's something the kids will enjoy. Next to the Coke can. So this is Parfait Chunky. I mean, if you used the chenille brights or something like that, it could be big enough that it doesn't have to be a keychain, that you could sell it like, you know, like I do the mini scrumps. I might have to try one in the brights, maybe. But they're cute. And again, free pattern, Cuteville Toys on Instagram. So then, now this one was my favorite one. Of all the keychain makes, I like this one the best. So, this is, and I did change the pattern a little bit. I added to it. This is a mini Oogie. So, it's free, and it's from All Doodled Out Designs. It's probably like a year or so old. Subscriber messaged it to me because I was showing my other Oogies, and they'd asked, had I seen the little one for a keychain? I was like, no, I haven't. So they sent it to me. I mean, otherwise it would not have hit my radar. So thank you very much for doing that. These are adorable. So what did I add to it? I added the side stitching. So I think that's what really gives it away and makes it look like Oogie. And then I surface crocheted to give it the eyelids, just like it has you do on that bigger pattern from Madeline Mako. So then I did a second one. And again, I did the extra stitching, but this one I tried just to embroider the eyelid. I like it this way much better. That's how I'll do it going forward, just with a surface single crochet. But this is the quicker way, and I mean, it works too. If I hadn't seen this first, I would have been fine with that. So we have 2 Oogies, and again, if this was done with a Bernat or the chenille brights, I think it would be plenty big enough to sell without calling it a keychain. Well, even in the Parfait Chunky, I mean, it would be a low-priced item, but you could do it like this. I just think if you do it, in the next one I show you, you'll see what I'm talking about with the size difference between Brights and Parfait Chunky. But these things are, I love them. I love them. They're so cute. And that is it compared to the Coke can. So, all doodled out designs. So, doing those was basically one of my days. Like, I spent that whole day working on that small stuff. I felt as if I should have been more productive than that because they are so tiny and such quick makes. But again, you know, feeling that like burnout. I know I need to do this, but I don't really want to. And that's just how it went. So then yesterday, I wasn't feeling too hot. I finished up my Night Fury. And what did I do? Thought about doing my video, but I didn't. I went to bed. I laid down, slept like a rock for a couple of hours, like 2.5, 3 hours. I slept better in that time frame than I did the night before. And I felt so much better when I got up. Now, of course, that meant I was up late. I couldn't sleep that night. And yeah, so we were up late last night. So I had one other paid pattern that I had purchased, and it had been on my radar for a few weeks. I really wish I had seen someone else do this and talk about the pattern before I got it. It's not that it's a hard pattern. It's okay. I wanted a smaller stitch. So this is the stitch. It is a plushico pattern. Very odd how it is done. Like, she wants you to make 2 arms, 4 single crochet in the magic circle, and then 4 single crochet, and then that's the arm. And I'm like, my fingers won't let me do that. So I'm reading ahead in the pattern and looking at what it's going to be, and I'm like, I'm just going to throw in a bobble stitch wherever we get to the part where we're supposed to attach the arms, and that is what I did. You make 2 little legs separate. You can barely see the legs on here. And they connect in the front. You come around, and the last stitch on the one leg, you do a bobble, which gives it that little tail and kind of helps it stand up. So, a lot of color changes. It is small. This is Parfait Chunky. It's small. So she has it meant to be like a bag charm. So, I mean, I have no problem with that. I can do it as a bag charm. But for as small as it is, it's a lot of work because of the color changes. And don't be afraid to just do a bobble stitch instead of making that little bitty arm. Like, my fingers just can't work with that tiny of a part. So now I was like, all right, I'm going to make one more. I want to do angel because it comes with stitch and angel. She also uses a magnet in it so that like their nose come together. But I did one out of Brights. He's a good size for a small pattern in Brights compared to the Parfait Chunky. I like this one much better. I still just did the bobble stitches for the arms because my fingers can't do that. They go into revolt. The only hard thing, and it's not really that it's hard, is because the ears are 2 layers, it's very thick. It can be awkward to pinch them closed and try and sew them on. So now these are 2 very different color blues. This is definitely more bright and cheery. This is the denim and light blue. The other blue, I think it's just too dark. Really, I think this blue is too dark for stitch, but you know, we're using what we have. This is probably about this size, maybe a tiny little bit bigger, definitely a fatter head than the mini scrump doll. But the idea with these was to have the mini scrump, a mini stitch, and a mini angel all set up together and see what happens with that. So I'm going to see if I have time today to at least get one angel. That would give me one mini scrump, one angel, and one stitch. Maybe another mini scrump because those do well. I haven't done, time just got away from me. I haven't done what I was supposed to be doing at all. Didn't accomplish what I wanted to. But I got a wall of spiders. But yeah, so that was the idea, was to display the 3 different things together and hopefully, you know, do something with that. So this was it. A lot of smalls. Only 3 of the bigger, regular to bigger sized plushies. But when I'm sitting here looking at all these things that I need to get priced and put in the system, I got a lot done in the last couple of weeks. So I got a basket over here, right over here next to me on the floor, full. My little table here is pretty much full. I have one of the wood crates sitting here, and I was using it for taking pictures. The inside of the crate is full with spiders, pugs, and plants. And then I have stuff sitting on top of it. Some snakes and some other little things. Oogie, the horse, and Bluey are sitting on the desk with the mouse. And yeah, I have some work to do today. And I need to make sure that even though I charged all my lights and everything last time and they haven't been used, sometimes just sitting, the batteries drain a little bit. So I have to make sure all those are charged up. I need to charge my charger, my, what do you call it, power pack, because I had to use that Sunday. And my iPad, I need to make sure is charged. And then put the plushies in the car. And of course the lights and stuff, but then, you know, everything's pretty much ready to go because the canopy's still in there, the tables, the display pieces. So it's just the plushies need to go back, and then the lighting, the tote that I have all the lighting and stuff in. And I'll be ready for tomorrow if we don't get rained out again. So thrilled to death that that storm is going to just kind of run up the coast and turn away from the whole country. Grateful for that. There's another storm behind it, but it looks like it's going to be a fish storm. And then there's another one behind that I haven't heard too much about yet. So we're just watching the tropics and seeing what's going to happen with that. So I'm going to go so I can edit this and get it uploaded a day late. On Thursday instead of Wednesday, and finish getting ready for my market tomorrow, and maybe get an angel made to go with the stitch. We shall see. All right, I will catch you guys in the next video.